Sunsets and sunrises in the Philippines. Captivating sights made all the more so by the fact that one can often behold them from the perspective of a coastal environment that is also among the most beautiful in the world. Consider an archipelago of 7,100 islands surrounded by waters 2,000 to 4,000 meters deep. A coastline that is more than 18,000 kilometers long and is regarded to be among the longest in the world. And in and around these islands and coastline, both above and beneath the waters, marine ecosystems teeming with life that provides food and livelihood to coastal communities and the entire nation. Yes, there is more to Philippine archipelago than just surf, sand, and sea. There is more than one can appreciate and partake of God's bounties here than just swimming and basking in the sun. There are 5 major ecosystems that constitute the country's coastal environment. These are the beach system, the coral reefs, seagrasses, the brackish wetlands, and the mangroves. The beaches are the most popular of these ecosystems as they are the most visible. Walk towards any seascape and the first feature of it that meets the eye is the beach. Beaches in the Philippines are either grayish-black sand, as with those found mostly on the coasts of the main island of Luzon, or they are powdery white sand, as with those found mostly in the Visayas and Mindanao. Beach sand owes its texture and color to the coral reefs found beneath the shallow waters near the coastline. Coral reefs are colonies of tiny animals called polyps that are related to and look like sea anemones. Polyps secrete stony cups of limestone that they grow around themselves as skeleton. The polyps divide as they grow and form coral colonies. As the coral colonies build up on top of each other, they gradually form a coral reef. The process of coral reef growth is slow and lasts to hundreds, even thousands of years. Sand is actually coral reef detritus, that is coral reef skeleton ground up and brought to shore by tidal action. Coral reefs, aside from providing us with beaches, are also home to other marine life. In the Philippines, the reef communities host about 400 coral species, 971 species of benthic algae, and a third of the 2,300 fish species known to inhabit the Philippine waters. Sea turtles, sharks, tuna, dolphins, and jackfish also call the reefs their home. Seagrasses form another part of the coastal environment. Seagrasses are marine plants with the same basic structures as terrestrial or land plants. They have tiny flowers and strap-like or oval leaves. They form meadows in estuaries and shallow coastal waters with sandy or muddy bottoms. The Philippines is known to have 16 species of seagrasses, the highest number in the Indo-Pacific region. Seagrasses are an essential part of the marine environment. Not only do the plants stabilize sand and mud banks, thus keeping coastal waters clean and clear, they also serve as fish nursery and foraging ground for species higher up in the marine food chain, such as dugong, turtles, and wading birds. Mangroves are yet another part of the coastal environment. These are marine tidal forests growing most luxuriant around the mouths of large rivers and in sheltered bays. Mangroves thrive in the tropical countries like the Philippines, where annual rainfall is fairly high. Mangrove plants include trees, shrubs, ferns, and palms unusually shaped to anaerobic conditions of both salt and freshwater environments. These plants have adapted to muddy, shifting, saline conditions. They produce stilt roots that project above the mud and water in order to absorb oxygen. Mangrove plants form communities that help stabilize banks and coastlines. They are also home to many types of marine creatures. Sometimes looking murky or muddy and hardly a place one would like to frolic in, brackish wetlands is an ecosystem usually found behind mangrove formations. Characterized by the predominant growth of Nipa fruticans, the Nipa palm, brackish wetlands are considered part of the mangrove habitat. Wetlands and the mangrove system complement each other as natural mechanisms for flood control and groundwater replenishment and purification. They serve as protection against storm surges, tsunamis, and other disturbances that cause massive losses of life and damage to property. Wetlands and mangroves together and by themselves reduce wind and wave action. The roots of wetland and mangrove plants help to hold coastal soil sediments in place. The Philippine coastline is replete with hundreds, even thousands of places with beach systems. The most famous of such places is Boracay Island in the western Visayas region. One of the country's top 10 tourist destinations, Boracay's main claim to local and international fame is its powdery white sand beaches. Sun, surf, and sand frolickers from all over are unanimous in their assessment of Boracay's beaches as among the most beautiful in the world. Nothing beats walking or lying curled up with a book and sipping on a tall one on a chase lounge on the beaches of Boracay, especially in late afternoons when the sun is setting and the sand is just warm enough to provide soothing relaxation to tired feet. The white sand beaches of Boracay are courtesy of the surrounding network of coral reefs that also provide tourists one other good reason to keep on visiting the island: snorkeling and scuba diving. Aside from suffusing the surrounding waters with that blue-green glow that is so pleasing and refreshing to the eye, the reef communities of Boracay, with its schools of technicolored marine life playing hide-and-seek among the coral beds, are an underwater paradise that is among the best in the world. Another beach system is that which can be found on the island of Mindoro at a point called Puerto Galera. Before Boracay became world famous, tourists flocked to Puerto Galera, so named by the Spanish who used the natural harbor as a port for their merchant ships called galleons in the 16th century. Puerto Galera is blessed with 3 main beaches and more than 30 dive sites beloved by snorkelers and scuba divers for their characteristic deep trenches and colorful reefs, amidst which can be found numerous maritime wrecks, a shark cave, and a true wall with a 164-foot, 50-meter drop-off. Puerto Galera is a protected area made so by a UNESCO declaration in the 1970s. Over in Lingayen Gulf in Pangasinan Province on the western coast of Luzon lie a group of islets collectively known as the 100 Islands. From a distance, the 100 Islands appear as a single land mass, but a closer view shows them to be individual islets. Ranging in area from a few square meters to 3 hectares, some 30 of the islands are bordered by white sandy beaches and surrounded by coral and seaweed. The crystal clear waters are suited for swimmers, snorkelers, and scuba divers. They are an interesting sight as they appear as moss-covered mounds scattered over the Lingayen Gulf. At the southwestern tip of the Philippines on the country's border with neighboring Malaysia lies what is officially known as the Philippine Saba Turtle Islands Group. The Turtle Islands is a major nesting site of the endangered green sea turtle, which is also known by its scientific name, Chelonia mitis. Because of this, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources Protected Areas and Wildlife Bureau maintains a presence in Turtle Islands as a deterrent to poaching on this highly valuable preserve. Located in the Sulu Sea about 1,000 kilometers southwest of Manila and some 40 kilometers north of Sandakan, Sabah, Malaysia, the Turtle Islands is a group of 9 islands, 6 of which are within Philippine territory, while 3 are within Malaysia's. The area is also known as Turtle Islands Heritage Protected Area, TIHPA, the first and only trans-frontier protected area for marine turtles in the world, established in 1996 by the UNESCO with the cooperation of the Philippine and Malaysian governments. Also found on the Sulu Sea is another UNESCO-protected site. This is Tubbataha Reef, located about 150 kilometers southeast of Puerto Princesa in Palawan Province. The Tubbataha Reef consists of 32,200 hectares of coral beds, accounting for more than half of the country's entire coral reef system. A unique example of an atoll reef, Tubbataha is home to at least 441 species of fish, 396 species of corals, 71 species of algae, 44 species of birds, 6 species of marine mammals, 2 species of nesting marine turtles, and many more natural wonders that are yet to be accounted for. Tubbataha yields the highest fish biomass in the country at 120 metric tons per square kilometer. The UNESCO declared Tubbataha a World Heritage Site in 1998 because of the important role it plays in regional and global biodiversity. It is one of only 9 purely marine World Heritage Sites in the world and the only one in Southeast Asia. Another major Philippine reef system lies beneath the water surrounding Apo Island, located off Sablayan in Occidental Mindoro Province. Apo Reef, another protected area by the strength of a United Nations declaration in 1996, is the largest of its kind in the Philippines. In the diving community, Apo Reef's reputation as one of the most beautiful diving spots in the world is legendary. Among conservationists, Apo Reef represents one of the most precious biodiversity areas on the planet. Like Tubbataha, Apo Reef is known to support thousands of species, corals and other marine life, as well as sea turtles, birds and dolphins and whales that make their transit around the reef's food-rich waters. In terms of the number of living organisms it supports, Apo Reef's value is incalculable. Some say it is even larger than the Great Barrier Reef of Australia. On the eastern side of the Philippine archipelago, off the northeastern tip of the island of Mindanao, lies Siargao Island, one of the Philippines and Asia's emerging surfing and other water sports destinations. Located 800 kilometers southeast of Manila, Siargao is an unspoiled teardrop-shaped island that has become famous mainly because of the powerful surf coming in from the Philippine Deep and the Great Pacific Ocean. The Siargao wave, which many surfers regard to be the best and most consistent in the Philippines in terms of strength and curve, is what has placed the country firmly on the world map of surfing destinations. Siargao's most popular break is Cloud 9, which can be caught in the general Luna area. Siargao is also ringed with virgin beaches, reefs with warm, clear waters offering a wealth of exotic marine life. Also recently discovered is a world-class diving spot called the Cathedral, because of the blue tunnel-like cave as big as a cathedral with 100 meters visibility. Siargao has long stretch of white sand beaches, hidden caves and lagoons, mangrove swamps, magnificent rock formations, and mountain lakes. The island is also home to several endangered and rare species of floral and fauna, such as the saltwater Philippine crocodile, marine turtles, sea cow, the attractive fire and century orchids, and the ironwood, or magkono. It has the biggest mangrove reserve in the Philippines, covering 8,760 hectares and vast areas of coral reef with rich marine resources. In terms of wetlands, the country has Ulugan Island in Mactan, Cebu, which has been acknowledged by the International Convention of Wetlands in Ramsar, Iran, as one of the 4 most important wetland and mangrove sites in the Philippines. Ulugan Island has mangrove, offshore coral reefs, and extensive coralline sandflats and seagrass beds. The island is one of the most important staging areas identified for the migratory shorebirds in the Philippines. It is used by millions of shorebirds as a resting place en route from Siberia and northern Japan to Southeast Asia and Australia. These migratory birds come to this waterfowl haven to escape the fierce winters in northern Asia. Each year, Ulugan sees nearly 100 different species of birds, one of which recorded is the most important rare Asiatic dowitcher, or Limnodromus semiplumatus. Other wetland areas in the country are those found around the inland lake of Laguna Bay in Laguna Province. Varied opinions have been advanced by early geologists regarding the origin of Laguna Bay. The idea that the lake was formerly a volcanic crater or that it originated through subsidence of a volcano remains unsolved. The most generally accepted theory, however, based on recent findings, is that the basin was once part of Manila Bay. 23 sub-basins drain into this lake at the heart of urban Manila. It is bordered by the ruggedly high Sierra Madre mountain ranges on the northeastern portion, the high Caliraya volcanic plateau in the east, and the chains of mountains in Laguna and Batangas province to the south and southeast, which includes Mount Banahaw and Mount Makiling. Laguna Bay is the most important freshwater wetland in the Philippines in terms of support to local communities. At present, the lake's most dominant use is fisheries. It is estimated that the lake has a potential yield of approximately 80,000 to 90,000 MT of fish annually, both from the fish pens and open fisheries. With the introduction of the fish pen technology in 1970, the boom in lake fishery production has led to a continuing conflict in the region. The large-scale fish pen culture has threatened the economic conditions of fishermen dependent upon open water catch. Today, Laguna Bay covers almost 1/2 of the total surface area of all existing lakes in the Philippines and ranks as one of the largest inland bodies of water in Southeast Asia. Based on the study conducted by the National Institute for Geological Sciences, the present surface area of the lake is 949 square kilometers and the average depth is now at 2 meters. Located slightly north of the geographical center of the island of Palawan, Ulugan Bay is an island covering an area of approximately 71 square kilometers. Ulugan Bay itself can be visualized as a deep indentation in Palawan's fairly straight South China Sea coastline. In terms of floral and fauna, the island of Palawan resembles its giant neighbor to the south, Borneo, more than it does the other main islands of the Philippines. Ulugan Bay claims international recognition for its natural environment. Home to an estimated 50% of the province's mangrove forests and to 15% of the total mangrove cover of the Philippines, the bay's mangrove resources alone merit global attention. However, Ulugan Bay also harbors extensive seagrass beds and coral reefs, as well as abundant fish and other marine fauna. To the tourist, Ulugan Bay is neighbor to the Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park, the primary tourist attraction of Palawan and a World Heritage Site. It is an unexplored wilderness of pristine mangroves and corals, hidden in secluded beaches and coves. It is a place the passing traveler can view and wonder at a distance, on their way to other established tourist destinations. To conservationists and ecotourists, Ulugan Bay is a site of spectacular scenery and home to the best preserved mangrove forests of the Philippines, as well as to a magnificent variety of coral reefs, seagrasses, fish, and waterbirds. In terms of national security, the bay is a point of extreme strategic importance. In military terms, Ulugan Bay is the only significant indentation on Palawan's South China Sea coastline and is within easy reach of the often disputed Spratly Islands group. Oyster Bay, a bay within Ulugan Bay, offers a near-perfect natural harbor for military purposes. To the fisherfolk of Palawan, Ulugan Bay and its surrounding waters represent a fishing ground and nursery of unequaled significance, and to some, a place to secure a quick profit. It is said that with the many Philippine islands dotted across such a vast expanse of water, the Philippine coastline, not surprisingly, is even double than that of the United States. Because of the mixed coastal fauna of the coral reefs, mangroves, and seagrass beds, the greatest marine biodiversity can be found here. These habitats host well over 5,000 species of plants and animals, including, according to one estimate, 1,400 species of fish, 1,400 species of crustaceans, more than 900 species of seaweeds, and an untold number of unknown species. More than 17% of the better-known fish are endemic to the Philippines, and there are more than 90 genera and at least 400 species of coral known to thrive in Philippine tropical waters. However, this biodiversity is under constant threat. In 1920, the Philippine mangrove forest area was estimated to be around 450,000 hectares. Largely as a result of conversion to fish ponds and salt beds, the clear cutting of trees for firewood and other domestic uses, and reclamation for industrial or other development purposes, this area has dangerously shrunk. From 1980 to 1991, mangrove areas were depleted at a rate of about 3,700 hectares per year. Today, old-growth mangrove areas are said to be more than just 20,000 hectares, about two-thirds of which are in Palawan and the remainder in Mindanao. Coastal fishing activities, whether small-scale or by larger fishing boats, accounts for about 4% of the country's GNP and employs over 1 million Filipinos. It is this fact too which endangers most of our coral reefs. The use of sodium cyanide to catch food fish and tropical aquarium fishes is one of the most serious threats to marine biodiversity. Sodium cyanide is used by fishermen to stun the fish for the live fish trade, but destroys the coral reef in the process. The use of dynamite to catch fish has taken their toll on the coral reefs of the Philippines. After decades of misuse, most of the corals of the Philippines have been transformed into vast swaths of underwater deserts, thereby reducing productivity in years. With the growth of tourism in coastal areas, Philippine coastal resources are predicted to become even more economically valuable over time. But these economic activities, whether legitimate or in the guise of, born from necessity and natural flow of things, are also putting tremendous strain on Philippine coastal resources. It greatly affects and more often than not even exploits these habitats. Coastal and our wetland resources are part of our natural wealth and have been critical to the development and survival of human communities. The advancing technological skills of human communities may seem to have supplanted the role of nature, but recent environmental catastrophes, floods, landslides, storms, hurricanes, tsunamis, many with their roots in unsustainable land use practices, suggest otherwise. However, all is not lost. With the recent growing awareness on the importance of our marine and coastal resources, people, local communities, even countries and international organizations have bonded together to join forces to save and even replenish our depleting resources. These organizations tirelessly reach out to as much of the people directly involved and in contact with our marine and coastal resource to continue to educate and inform for a real sustainable development. A renaissance has begun.